Okay, so this is the oil chart right here. And I'm short, so I'm gonna explain why. I'm gonna try and be as brief as possible, just give the couple of main ideas I have why this price is going down, and we'll see. We'll see if I was right in the future. And if you have any ideas why my ideas or arguments are good or wrong, please share. So, first of all, right here, you have the $0 mark. This is absolutely insane. Got completely blasted through. Went to minus 40. First time I ever saw that on any market. Absolutely crazy. That was only 2 years ago. What the hell happened? You got a massive explosion. For 2 years, it only went up from there. It's absolutely insane if you start going from zero or close to what we are right now is insane amount of percentage gains. Doesn't make any sense. And that's been just a euphoric maniac phase of the market for 2 years. So I don't know about you guys. I've been in the markets for some time. When there's a mania phase, there's often a depressive phase after the maniac phase, unless we're talking about some stock like Google or Apple or something that just keeps innovating and dominating. But this is a commodity. This is oil. It's not moving. It's not changing. It's just the same thing in different geopolitical and economic situations. So, going from absolute bearishness to the extreme to absolute bullishness to the extreme, to me sounds a little bit extreme. It doesn't seem very reasonable. I think at some point, if you push a pendulum from the to the far left, of course it's going to go to the right, right at some point. But then when the far right is done, at some point it's going to go back to the middle or to the left, or there's going to be some counter movement. So that's one of the reasons. Now, other reason. Let's go to reason number two. You see this trend line right here from this pivot point, extremely powerful macro pivot point. We're on the monthly, as a matter of fact. Each and every candle you see is a monthly. So this is like 40 years of oil price action. So it's big pivot points. Big pivot point right here, big pivot point right here. There's a trend line, fits with another pivot point here, here, and somewhat close here as well. And then if you take away all this absolute madness of negative prices, you can see that the support was right there where the trend line was coming from all these decades of price action. You had pivot points on this trend line and you had another one right here. So if you simply do what I just did here and you take this trend line, you copy paste and you get the exact same slope for another trend line and you move it up to the all-time high, what do you get? You get this trend line that got hit perfectly right there. Crazy. How the hell is, and we're talking, look at this candle right here. The what is was this the March candle in 2022 got completely sold into when it touched that trend line. So is this trend line being respected? It seems. It really does seem, even though there's still a last stretch going into this trend line, it seems like it's acting as resistance, and it's a perfect channel. So are we simply in a big macro channel going from this side of the channel to this one? And is it right now the time that the channel would get broken? I'm not convinced, because a trend line usually hits at least two times. Two times is just the basis to be called a trend line. And if it doesn't hit two times, it's not a trend line. So two times is a bare minimum. It could get hit three times, four times, five times before it get broken. Who knows? And I'm not at least at all close to the idea that the trend line may be broken at some point. It may be broken pretty soon, but at least I think we have at least a multi-month correction happening right now on oil. I don't know how low it's going to go, but it seems likely that this trend line would hold at least one time. Okay, that's just seems reasonable to me. Now, the third reason why I'm short on oil, you see these little arrows right here. There's one arrow right here, one arrow, three arrows. What the hell is this? Well, let me explain. Let's forget about the one that is right now just happened, okay? Let's go in the past ones. What happened there? This was the peak of the stock market in the two last crashes. Two last stock market crash was in 2000, the dot-com bubble, and in 2008, the financial housing market bubble. Every time the same thing happened. Let's go look in 2018. Stock market price goes up, price of oil goes up. Then stock market peaks, and then let me just show you on the stock market what happened. That's the S&P 500. Okay, so this was the there's crazy trend lines right here. Please forget about those. Now there's a peak right here. So this peak and this peak in 2008, or if you look at the Nasdaq, this peak right here 2000, this peak 2008. They correlate. I think I took the Nasdaq for this. I'm not sure. Maybe the S&P. They're pretty close. So it peaks right here, and the price of gold oil goes up. You get a last stretch from oil for multi-month, like 8 months or 10 months, not sure. The price keeps going up and up, even though the stock market peaked, and it's just crashing and crashing. People are losing money, and just like the perfect storm, what's happening is that money loses purchasing power because this oil keeps getting up, and it's not good for the money and for what money can buy. So naturally, at some point, people losing money, and times are harder and harder. They start spending less. So the demand for oil becomes less because people start spending less. And so you get a crash. And what happened in 2000? 50% crash on oil after the last multi-month stretch. Now, what happened in 2008? You get the stock market peak right here, 2007. Now, the price of oil keeps going up for quite some stretch, multi-month, like 8 months, 10 months, same kind of thing. Up, people's purchasing power going down as their investments are going down. Everything's bad, perfect storm. And then, because they start spending less, everybody's broke. Pow, demand on oils goes down, and you get a big drop, massive drop. This time, much more than 50%. But whatever it is, big drop. So is this what's happening right now? Well, if it is, and I'm making the point that it is, I'm not gonna make the point here why I think the stock market is overdue for a considerable crash, and I think it's just getting started right now. I'm not gonna make the point on this. This is an oil price video. But if you think like me that the stock market is in for a bigger correction than what's happening right now, well, look at this. The peak has happened here. I marked it right here. You can go check the date. Peak of the stock market happened right here. We get a last massive stretch, just like in the last two times. And then we're at the top of the channel. It's been a crazy 2 years. And there's a perfect news cycle telling us geopolitically that there's no reason for oil to go down. It can only go up. The perfect situation for all average investors and people in general to just believe that this thing is going to keep going up. So I'm not buying it. I'm actually selling it. So that was my idea. If you think I'm wrong, please say in the comments. I'd be curious to know why that would be. And that's it. That's my video on oil. Ciao, guys.